A Chinese engineer finds a giant structure while excavating inside the mountain. As soon as they pull him out of the mountain, there is a loud explosion, due to which many workers are killed. A team named 749 is formed to investigate the accident. They all go inside the mountain. The team is led by Professor Tian, his own daughter Young Pin, and the film's main character Yubai also joins the team. Everyone goes inside the mountain. The mountain inside was very big and scary, where there were many big idols that the Chinese believed that it used to be the kingdom of demons. While investigating the mountain, they reach its other side. In what used to be a snowy area, they see the footprint of a huge creature. At the same time, there are many blue-colored bats. Suddenly, one of the bats is about to attack Professor Tian. The soldier grabs it by his hand, and at the same time he starts burning. Two soldiers come to him to save him, and they both burn to ashes. Meanwhile, a huge giant-like creature appears, who's walking on the mountain, causes an ice storm. They all dig into the trench for their lives, where many soldiers are killed by the solid spiked ice, while Young Pin and the Yubai hang by a rope from a block of ice, which soon breaks and both of them fall into the ditch. In the next scene we see that Yubai Young Pin, his father, and one of his friends will survive. The professor takes all of them and reaches a place with a tower inside the cave. The name of this tower is Demon Tower. The professor lights a lamp there and tells them both to go inside the tower. As soon as both of them go inside, the way above the tower opens and a very bright light is created which can be seen going up to the sky. And so many souls come there. Yubai friend lays down on top of the lamp, which turns off the light and also the light inside the demon tower. At the same time, many bats come there. Yubai's friend puts the bats behind him and tells them to run away from here. He gathers all the bats around him and blows himself up, which kills many of the bats, but there were still quite a few alive. One of them clings to Yubai and his body bursts into flames. Young Pin pushes him into the water and jumps into the water himself. Suddenly, a huge creature appears in the water and eats Young Pin. Next, Yubai turns up in a hospital, where he is told that he is the only survivor of Mission 749. All his friends will be killed. He no longer continues this risky job and goes to Mr. Bong's library to work. Next we are shown a man. It was the same man who sent them all to investigate in that cave. They find Young Pin from a shroud found on the mountain, but he has no memory of himself. A few days later, the scientist is found alive, who tells his chief that he has opened a door to another world inside the demon tower. Because of this, many creatures will come into this world. He has to shut down the demon tower. On the other hand, Yubai finds an old newspaper in the library that contains scientist Tian's entire column about the demon tower, which means he has been there before. He starts reading more about the tower. Suddenly, a bat's blue color fire starts coming out of his body, and as soon as he sees it, he uses his magic to blow up everything in the library. Then Mr. Wong comes and restores everything to normal with his magic. This is when we find out that he is not a normal person but the gatekeeper of this world, just like in the movie Thor. At the same time, the ground breaks and they all reach a hidden place. Mr. Wong explains that many years ago, many monsters were ahead in the same world through this demon tower, which was driven away from here with great difficulty by your father. The tower was sealed with his own blood, which could only be reopened with your blood, which has been opened by your going into the demon tower. And once it was closed, it would have been occupied by many demons who intermarried with humans and are now half-breeds. The leader of Team 749 then comes to Yubai and tells him that they need him to find Mr. Tian. But he refuses to go back to the demon tower, to which he tells her that Yangpin is still alive and that she found him in a shroud a few days ago, so he goes with his team to find Mr. Tian. On the way, she meets Yangping, but she doesn't remember anything about him, so she introduces him as Shirley. After that, they all go towards the demon tower. Suddenly there is a huge sandstorm on the way, in which all these people are scattered. Yubai, Shirley, and some other people reach a deserted city. Yuai's friend was lost on the way. Suddenly a very dangerous monster comes to him and attacks him and kills a person. The other two people run away from there and reach the same deserted city, where the rest of the people were. He tells them that there is a very dangerous monster behind them and they have to run for their lives. But the team leader does not believe. Meanwhile, the monsters reach there. Everyone picks up their guns and starts firing at him and kills him. Next moment, many such monsters arrive there. One of the monsters sees Yubai and runs away. Yubai chases him to the spot where Mr. Wong would pick them up from his library, a gateway to travel between two worlds. The monster attacks him and injures him and is about to kill him when Shirley arrives, and we are surprised to see that the creature was not attacking her. On the contrary, he runs away from there. Shirley picks Yubai up and places him inside the shroud, where all of his wounds are healed within moments. In the next scene, after young Pin is eaten by the monster in the sea, he later pulls it out of its mouth and brings it to the demon tower, where a soul from another world enters his body, which means that there is a demon in his body. That's why it wasn't attacking the monsters. Shirley also brings Yubai here and asks him to open the demon tower, but he refuses. Shirley angrily sends him back to his friends where the monsters are attacking them, and he too starts fighting the monsters. Suddenly, a monster hits Yubi hard, injuring him. The monster is about to kill him, but Shirley comes and chases the monster away and sits next to him and puts his head in her lap. He says that she looks exactly like his friend young Pin, and he shoots her with that, as all the monsters disappear. Because they were all made by Shirley to play with the tower, Shirley transforms into young Pin while the demon tower collapses on itself. Yubai picks up Shirley and puts her in the shroud because it could revive anyone. After that, we are seen many years ago. Mr. Tian had married a demon girl who left the demon tower many years ago, and therefore his daughter was a half-demon. One day his daughter revives a dead bird while her mother sees her and forbids her to do so again. A few days later, her mother dies, and she says while dying that her daughter will also die at a young age. That's why Mr. Tian brought her to the demon tower to somehow prevent her from dying. And we are also shown the scene where young Pin and Hyobai fall into the ditch, and they don't die. In fact, they were all dead. That Yang Pin resurrects with her power, and so she can't resurrect herself. In the last, we see Hugh leaving while the sea creature is still following him, and that's the end of the movie. If you like my video, don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. Thanks.